livestock industry and its enormous methane production is one of the most destructive practices in accelerating climate change. Global warming potential is a measure created to represent how well a gas absorbs heat. In other words, how long a gas stays in the atmosphere to warm the Earth. Global warming potential is measured relative to carbon dioxide over a period of time, usually 100 years. The global warming potential of methane is 21, meaning that it is 21 times more potent at trapping heat from the sun than carbon dioxide. Though it is less plentiful in the atmosphere than carbon dioxide, it is, by unit, one of the most destructive greenhouse gases. Meat production is an extremely destructive practice that is responsible for more greenhouse gases than all the world's transportation systems combined. Livestock emissions make up around 18% of total global greenhouse gas emissions. To put this in perspective, the transportation sector represents around 14%. A cow does on average release between 70 and 120 kilograms of methane per year. But the negative effect of methane on the climate is about 21 times higher than the effect of carbon dioxide. Let's do some math to put this in perspective. If one cow releases about 100 kilograms of methane per year, that is equivalent to about 2,100 kilograms of carbon dioxide per year. There are between 1.3 and 1.5 billion cows on Earth. 1.5 billion times 100 kilograms is 150 billion kilograms. That's approximately how much methane the cows alone release into the atmosphere per year. The largest source of greenhouse gases in beef production comes from the methane produced in the gastrointestinal tract, accounting for over 60% of total emissions. These 1,300-pound animals eat a lot, meaning they expel a lot of gas, methane to be exact. Cows release most of their methane when they chew or when they belch. Their feces also releases it. Cows belong to a class of animals called ruminants. Most ruminants have 4 stomachs and store their food in the first chamber of the stomach, called the rumen, before regurgitating it. Their regurgitated food is called cud, and the animals chew it again to help further break it down to make it easier to digest. Inside of the rumen, over 400 different kinds of microbes exist that also play a critical role in the digestion process. Several of these microbes create methane gas as a byproduct. Due to the sheer number of cows on the planet, which is around 1.5 billion, along with the large size per cow, cows produce more methane gas than all other ruminants combined.
So yes, the livestock industry produces an enormous amount of methane, but in terms of air pollution and greenhouse gases, the livestock industry contributes more to climate change than just methane. Carbon dioxide emissions are heavily produced in the meat industry due to the burning of fossil fuels used for crop production, such as fertilizers and fuel, as well as transport of feed, cattle, and beef to markets. Let's put this in perspective. Scientists say that producing 1 kilogram of beef results in more CO2 emissions than going for a 3-hour car drive while leaving all lights on at home. That's right, the emissions of carbon dioxide are more than the amount released by an average car every 258 kilometers, and the energy consumption is equal to a 100-watt light bulb being left on for 20 days. The emissions, though, are even higher, as this calculation does not include for emissions from managing farm equipment and transporting the meat. In addition to enormous methane and carbon dioxide emissions, nitrous oxide, which has a higher global warming potential of either of those combined, is emitted due to the livestock industry. Direct nitrous oxide emissions come from fertilized agricultural soils and livestock manure. The storage and handling of livestock manure is a direct source for nitrous oxide emissions. When the manure of livestock is not used as a fertilizer or left in fields during grazing, it has to be kept for treatment and disposal in animal waste management systems. These systems create conditions that are favorable for nitrous oxide producing bacteria.
As concerns rise about depletion of water resources both locally and globally, livestock production and other agricultural sectors have often been criticized for water use. However, this is all for good reason. It takes more than 1,847 gallons of water to produce 1 pound of beef. while producing 1 pound of tofu only requires 244 gallons of water. By going vegan, one person can save approximately 219,000 gallons of water per year. Along with the copious amounts of water used during the growing process of cattle and other meats, these farms contribute to water pollution in a range of ways.
Runoff from farms carries livestock feces, leftover feed, and crop residues into the water stream.
Other water contaminants include sediment and bacterial water pollution. In one instance, bacteria water pollution was in Walkerton, Ontario. Agricultural runoff resulted in deadly E. coli bacteria contaminating the well water resources and killing 7 people in 2000.
How can we put an end to these enormous livestock emissions? What can we do to ensure a future for the earth? Cutting out meat and avoiding dairy products is the single biggest way to reduce your environmental impact on the planet. At this point, it is critical and urgent that we cut out meat from our diets, or at least drastically cut down. This is one of the most effective ways to reduce our personal carbon footprint and to overall reduce our negative impact on the environment. The Earth will become uninhabitable due to climate change in the very near future if we don't change our ways immediately.